Okay. As you can probably guess, I have curlier hair than anticipated.
Nice, cool. My hair is more curly than I draw.
Oh, well,
Um,
fair enough.
I mean, tight curls are just like harder to draw unless I just completely get rid of all the definition.
Fair point. That's fine. Okay. So, hello, everybody. It's been a little rough, but yeah, we are here to answer your questions. Seeing only me, maybe sometime in the future you'll see the both of us. Maybe. We'll see. Depending on how big we get. Always. But yeah, let's start off with the question we have from Kapla5053, who says, I like the character of ENFJ. I like when she snuck up on ISFJ after the party. It was sweet. My question is, what does ENFJ do on her free time? Hobby/quirks, and what does ENFJ find annoying? I'm an ISFP, by the way. You have the ENFJ friend, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you'll be able to answer this question a lot better than I will. I can only
Yeah,
go based off of conjecture and theory, as I do not have any ENFP friends, ENFJ friends, that is.
yeah. So ENFJ, the character is based off of friends. She actually one of the things that like you might not expect her to do is that she will sit down and like knit or crochet. I think she crochets. Um, and honestly, sometimes she's really hard to read, so it's hard to tell what she finds annoying.
I blame introverted intuition.
Probably, yeah. Um, I know she doesn't like it when people like act out, like really, like it was a problem between her and her boyfriend,
Mm.
um, because he's a little more childish and like doesn't really care what people think, and like he was bothering her in public spaces, and like they had to go over that. Oh, wait,
Wonderful.
I don't know if I was supposed to talk about that.
Whoops! Secrets are
It's
out.
okay.
Dun dun
No names.
dun. No
I
names.
didn't
We're all
mention any
good.
names.
But like, does she find anything annoying?
Uh, for the character, I figure she would find like, I guess, overly sarcastic or blunt people annoying.
So ISTP, ISTJ,
Yeah.
yeah, probably mostly those two because they can both be pretty blunt and sarcastic. And they often banter with each other in such I would imagine that ISTJ and ISTP banter with each other in a deadpan kind of fashion.
Yeah. But in general, I think the character would be pretty chill.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question comes from somebody who says obscure music term, asks, what does ISTP shirt say? Well, if you zoom in real close, it says, if you can read this, you're too close. I actually had to zoom in on that. I'm like, oh, that's what it says. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's an old picture,
Yeah.
and like I had to
Very,
doctor
very
it up.
old. But no, he was curious, so it was fun. It was fun. It was cute. And it's funny because I'm the type of person, if it wasn't super obvious, to hold on. I'm the type of person to wear those kinds of shirts. As I am doing right now, I am wearing one of those shirts, which has the I've lost an electron. The other one. Are you positive? I have many of. I'm the person who typically, if somebody in the comic was to wear a shirt like that, it would be that one. Okay, so going on to the question box. Dirk, 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 dirk. And these are mostly from anonymous anons. Yeah, we could probably call them just anons. The first one is, I love your guys' comic, and my fave so far is INTP. I was wondering, who was your favorite character to create? Are we going off of biases or not biases? Because I think,
I mean, my favorite so far has been ESFJ.
Right.
Like, I was not expecting to have as much fun with that character as I have been.
Right.
Which might be why I've been deviating from your script a little bit. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I kind of figured that's I kind of figured that my script is a general outline, and maybe when we get like popular enough, or when there's like enough people or whatever, they'll be able to see what the script was and how the comic deviated from it. Like maybe if we at some point open a Patreon or whatever, or even if we like do like a book, one of those like comic books, once we're able to put one of those together, can have like the script at the back page for like the people who pre-ordered or something. We'll figure it out in the future. As for me, aside from, you know, myself, because I know myself the best, so aside from INFP, the one I had probably the most fun with, and that's probably because all I had to do was picture myself and flip knee and phi around. So my favorite were actually the twins. I love the ENFP and ENTP twins. They were my favorite, and they continually to be my favorite. And the dynamic that they have with almost everybody else, I just find so much fun. So yeah, that's my favorite. Next one asks if we want to hear an original song. I mean, sure, why not? I'll let you ask to the next question as you have it up.
Yeah. So this is also from Anonymous. Not sure where I should send this in, but it's a question for the Q&A. I actually love the idea of INTP and INTJ together. Will anything like that ever happen? Okay, so I'm going to take full responsibility for this one and basically tell you how we got to the point of not really including relationships. I don't really like romance in media. Like, I don't mind it per se, but it's not, there's too much importance placed on it in most things. My writer likes romances, I'm assuming, but he was nice enough to compromise with me on just like one like crush status relationship.
Yeah, the thing about that is interesting because I was actually for me, because I am a hopeless romantic, I was actually like a coin toss because my mind works over all the possible issues and complaints and all that can arise out of a romantic type of thing. So when ISFJ says, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, I'm like, okay, that just cuts all my problems in half. I'm good with this. So yeah, that's where I was right there, because I'm like, okay, how am I going to deal with all the future problems I can inevitably see coming? Because I've seen it happen to other artists, and I've seen it happen to other writers, especially like webcomic artists and webcomic writers and all that. And I'm like, okay, I've seen this issue arise. How am I going to deal with it? And the easiest solution, ISFJ was like, INFP or somebody can have one relationship, and that's where it's going to stay. So yeah, that's where that came from.
Like, there are some gags that only work within a romantic context.
Yeah. So
I still want to include those, but overall, like, I want everybody to be friends.
Yes.
If you would like to ship the characters, go ahead. Totally. Whether you write or draw or whatever, or you just have headcanons, like, you can totally send all of those things in.
Yeah.
Let's start a shipping war. Don't care if I get hate. Don't like my pairings. Well, then you can hit the bricks. This is my OTP. I'll go down with this ship. I ship it.
this
It's
actually...
just from a creator standpoint, I'm not exactly a fan of romance.
And this is actually answers the other question, which is actually on the INTJ side, not the INTP side. So yeah, this kind of kills two birds with one stone with that answer. The next question is, what is the relationship between ENFP, ENTP, and INFP? Does INFJ
INFJ.
INFJ. Does INFJ tend to keep his distance? Are they friends? The way I see it is ENFP and ENTP try to be friends with everybody. That's kind of their shtick. They want to stick their noses kind of in everybody's business, but not quite. They just want to have fun with people.
Yeah. INFJ is probably more on the quiet side, and so when they do hang out with him, they probably have a good time.
Yeah.
But like, he's not going to be running right alongside them.
Well, he might in private. Like,
yeah.
He might be the one who's like super energetic when it comes to like, oh, it's just us three. Okay, let's party or do whatever. And he might like even sing like silly songs or whatever.
And now it's time for Silly Songs with Laddie, the part of the show where Laddie comes out and sings a silly song. So without further ado, Silly Songs with Laddie.
The Water Buffalo song.
But he's a lot more, at least I've seen, and this is probably how you've seen him too, is that he's a lot more reclusive outside than he is inside.
Yeah, and like, INFJ is also kind of based on one of my friends, like very loosely. And like, my friend is completely in his head all the time.
That is very typical of INFJs. The next question is a little confusing. What do you feel most at ease? Do you mean ease writing? Do you mean ease in general? Do you mean like which character feels the most at ease?
Is it when do you feel
No. Yeah, like it just says, what do you feel most at ease? And I'm like, this is a little vague, but...
Well, I mean, the easiest part for me is actually inking and coloring. Like, I have to... Those are actually the last stages, so I usually start with a thumbnail, and then I go to a larger sketch, and then I ink and color. And most of my problems come when I'm trying to lay out the page, like either in the thumbnail or the sketch, and like I can't get the angles to work right, or it doesn't have the right feeling to the panels or stuff like that. But the easiest is inking and coloring because that's pretty straightforward.
If we're going that route, then for me it would be at the concept of ideas, the brainstorming, the coming up with funny little things to do in the future. That's where I feel the most ease. But if we're talking about the characters feeling most at ease, that's way too long of an issue. But yeah, bit vague. Be a little more specific next time, and we'd be able to give you a bit of more specific answer. And then I'll let you ask the last question, not the INTJ one, but the one that's above it, because we already answered the INTJ one.
Yeah. There was another question asking if INTJ would have a love interest. Not that she needs one, that is just curious, which I appreciate.
But that's, it's not, we already answered that, so...
No, I know, I'm letting people know that's what we were talking about. Yeah, so the last question is, when did you first take the MBTI test? I took the first one probably when I was 12.
Wow. Yeah,
like, okay. My mom was pretty into psychology, like during college, so it kind of got passed on to me. And like, I don't know, I came out ISFJ, and I have never tested as anything other than ISFJ. So I know the test isn't really super duper accurate for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons, but for me it was always accurate, or I just fit into the stereotypes really well.
Yeah, for me, it was actually interesting because when I first took it, I took it on the David Kiersey site, and I had no idea what any of it meant. It was just like, that was a time when I was exploring myself. This was also a time when, like, all these personality questions, like, what color does your personality represent? Or what spirit animal are you? Or what mythical being are you? Or what type of dragon are you? And along that list of personality type stuff, I came across what type of what is your personality type. I'm like, oh, well, this is interesting. So I took it, and it tested as an INFP. This was when I was 16, 17. And it just said INFP, the idealist. And I'm like, well, I don't know what INFP stands for, but I like this idealist part. And, and so I related to that for quite a while. Then my sister, who is an INTP, she got a book based on the Myers-Briggs types and how, it helps in general. And so I read that, became obsessed, tested once again as an INFP, except this time I knew what it stood for. And then after that, I just consistently, except for like 1 or 2 times, I consistently tested as an INFP. But yeah, no, the first time was when I was in high school, and the second time was when I was in college. And the second time I blame my INTP sister for. So yeah, that's my story on it. And yeah, that is our Q&A. But if there is something you guys would like to see on our channel, which will now be coming up, do let us know, because, just doing this Q&A is going to be like, we need some other context. If you guys have ideas, feel free to send them in. But yeah, I think that answers all the questions that we were sent. And probably the next Q&A will probably be, I'm thinking, at the end of every chapter, we can do one.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of like a video Q&A bit. So people will have to wait a while for chapter 2 to finish before another one comes up. But if there is something you guys would like to see, do let us know. With that being said, we will see you guys, when the webcomic comes up.
Bye.